Hey, it's John at Tinderbox Arts. This is the Garmin Zumo XT, and it's a motorcycle-specific GPS or NavSat if you're in the UK. What I'd like to do today is give you an opportunity to see this close up. I'm going to go over the physical details of it and the mount, and then I'm going to go through the menu system. Now, you can go online and see all sorts of specs on this unit, but if you're like me, you like to see things close up, so you can get a better idea of how it works and what it looks like. So that's what I'm going to try to do for you today. Now, up until now, I've been using a regular automotive style GPS on both of my motorcycles, and that's been fine. But when you compare these two side by side, the XT being on the left here, the differences in brightness and the sharpness of the screen is really apparent. Now, I'm not sure how much comes through on camera, but when you put them side by side like this in real life, the XT is really far superior, and I can see in bright daylight this is going to be a lot easier to read. I also noticed when I first plugged this in, it picked up the satellites a lot more quickly than the older style here, and I'm in a basement right now where nothing is going to be picked up, but when I first turned this on, I was still indoors, but near a window, and it picked up the satellites almost immediately. All right, let me give you some close-up shots of the unit itself, physically speaking. You've seen the front cover here already. If you look at the back, you can see how the mounting system is going to work here, and I'm going to get you close-ups of all of this, but basically there are electrical contacts right here in the middle. There's a rubberized area right here, which is a seal, and I'll show you the mount. The mount kind of clips on the bottom and clips on the top, which I'll show you shortly, and that's what holds the whole thing in place. And I want to talk about that in some more detail in a second, but let me show you the rest of this. The power button is right here, that's on the back, and these two areas right here, the bottom one, if I open this, this is a rubberized seal, so this has some flex to it. You can flex it, okay? And that is your electrical port right there, which you can plug in a USB, and that seals back up. You just press it in place. It seems, it's just a very common arrangement, and it seems okay. And under this little flap right here, same thing, it's a rubberized flap. That is where a memory card will be stored, and I'll get into that shortly. And again, this just flips back down, you press it in place. You can see the outline right here, that little circle, that's where the speaker is. And the unit has some thickness to it. It's a little bit thicker than the older automotive style GPS. All right, let's take a look at the mounting plate and the electrical connection. The electrical connection looks like this. I'll show you how that works. This is the GPS end. On the other end, you're going to have a little box with some electronics in it, and then they just give you a bare wire connection. Now, I'm going to do a separate video on how to connect this to your bike, but I just wanted to show you this for now. And then on the GPS side, this is basically a mounting plate. It has 4 holes, which are somewhat industry standard, and you'll be able to connect this plate with screws or bolts to various ball mounts or other mounts. And this plate connects to the GPS. So when you first get it, you need to put this electrical connector through the back. I'll turn this over. Where up here is the top. So I'm just going to put this through like this. And then this will end up being seated in there. I flip it over to the other side. The electrical connector looks like that, and I just push this in place. Again, it's kind of rubberized, and that's what it looks like all set. So when you connect this to the unit, there is a little clip right here at the bottom that slides in, and then at the top there's a little clip right here, and this is spring loaded, and that's how you get that to connect to the GPS. Now, in looking at this, it is a solid connection once it's made, but I do have some concerns about accidentally hitting this button or something like that. So I'm going to show you a solution for that in a second. But once this is in place like that, the electrical connections are in the middle. And to install this, it will slide into the bottom like that. And then this part just clips in place. That's it. Now that's in place. Now there's a rubber seal around the edge of this, which keeps water at bay. And then to remove this, you just press this down and it comes unclipped. But you can see the concern is that even once you have that in place, you could accidentally hit this and you might have a problem. Now keep in mind this plate is going to be attached to some ball system or a bracket, but you know the potential exists for you to accidentally unclip that. For that reason, my son picked up these, which is just a little tether system. All right, so you have some double-sided tape here, and you could mount this to the GPS like in the back right here, and tie it off somewhere so that just in case you accidentally hit it, you know, it's not going to land on the road. Whether that's necessary or not, I'm not sure yet. We haven't used this long term, but it is something to think about. Now, a micro SD memory card is not necessary to run the unit, but if you want to add additional data to the unit and have some extra storage, it's nice to have. Now, these things are really tiny and kind of hard to put in, but this goes under this flap right here, and it's kind of a weird arrangement where they have a metal door underneath. See that little flap right there? It starts out like that, and then you flip it up like that to expose the electrical contacts. Now with that door flipped up, and my fat fingers, I'm going to try to get this memory card in there. So the electrical contacts go that way. All right, so you want to get the memory card sitting cleanly in there like that so it's flat. Now to close this metal flap door, it's actually 2 steps, and it's easy to overlook this. So the first step is just to flip it down. Okay, now that covers the card. Now you have to push it and snap it into place, pushing this way. So you push down so that you feel it kind of snap in place, and then push it like that. That locks it in place. If you don't do that final push this way, it won't be locked in place. With that like all set, I just flip this door back down and push the rubberized flap into place, and that's all there is to it. Now I'll power it on, and it says the memory card must be formatted. So I'll let that happen. Now you notice I have this right now in portrait mode, and it will work either way, and it will flip for you. All right, I just want to show you some of the menus and just give you an idea of what you're looking at when you turn this unit on. I'm going to go into settings, and this will look familiar to you if you have any other Garmin unit. So you have updates. Now this does have Wi-Fi capability, so you don't have to connect it directly to the computer. And I've already set up the Wi-Fi, and you can see I'm up to date here, so it checked over the airways for me. You have the map and the vehicle settings, so you can change the icon if you like. Right now it's looks like a bagger motorcycle, but you can change it to whatever you want. The driving map view, map detail, you can change that. The map theme, layers, auto zoom or not, you can turn that off if you don't want it. If you're setting up a route and you want to confirm or not to confirm whether you skip to the next location, things like that. The navigation, how it's calculated, things you want to avoid, custom avoidances, like things like toll roads and that sort of thing. The wireless network, as I said, I already set that up. So you can connect all sorts of things to this. I have my PackTalk Bold, which is Bluetooth enabled. You can connect to that. It's not right here in front of me right now. Your phone and other devices, so you can go through that. Driver assistance. Some of these are pretty obvious, but there's a bunch of options here you can turn on or off. If you have a wireless camera, I do not, but you have one that will connect to this unit, you can set that up here. The display has all sorts of options as far as color. The orientation, again, you can have it in portrait or landscape mode. If it times out, things like that. The units and the time format, if you want miles or kilometers, whatever it is. All right, let's take a look at some of the apps that come installed. I have not added anything to this. So there's an owner's manual on there, which is nice. Some of these things, honestly, I don't even know what they are, but I want to show them to you in case you're interested. I don't know what this InReach is, actually. Oh, okay, it's another device. I don't have that. There's a trip planner, which is very similar to all the other Garmin units. You can do that from here, or you can do it separately and put it on here. You can share a route with somebody else. The fuel settings, if you have to track your fuel stops, or you want to look at your fuel remaining and that sort of thing. Sometimes your motorcycle isn't working the way it's supposed to, and you have a fuel strip problem or whatever it is, and you can use this instead. God, there's all sorts of stuff here. The phone, you can connect a headset. I have not done that yet. Traffic, we talked about. Helmet guide. This is kind of, it doesn't affect me, but for people who don't want to wear a helmet unless they have to, this will tell you its best guess on Connecticut. Helmets are required. So if you're going through a long trip and you're going through different states, it'll give you some indication of helmet laws. Service history, if you're going to keep a service history of your bike. Kind of interesting. I'm not sure I would use that, but it's there. Your travel history, if you want to do that. There is a music player. Right now, it would work with your phone. Right now, I don't have a phone connected to this, but it is possible to do. So those are some of the apps that come standard on this. If you hit the music button, you get right to where I was just showing you. And you could select the source. Again, I have not set this up yet, and I doubt I will because I don't use music when I'm riding, but it's there. The track gives you some of these stats that you might find interesting. I like to look at these at the end of a trip sometimes. And if you click the main button here, Where To, it gives you these options. So the Go Home, when you can set that up, and you can do various options here. The categories, if you're looking quick for a gas station, attractions, restaurants, lodging, rest areas, all this kind of stuff. Again, this is pretty standard with all Garmin units. Motorcycle locations, interesting. This gives you nearby, motorcycle dealers or repair garages, so that's nice to have. So that gives you a sense of what happens when you go to the Where To. And when you view the map, you have the standard Garmin arrangement here, so you can make the map bigger or smaller easily enough. This touchscreen is very sensitive, more sensitive than the automotive style unit I have. Gives you directions. If you click these three dots here, that brings up all these options. What's up ahead, your music player, traffic, things you would want quickly. And if you hit this little symbol right here, that brings up the options for topographic or bird's eye. If you click here on the speed, it brings up, which is interesting, I haven't gone very fast since I haven't even connected this to a bike yet. But it gives you all this information here. And if you click on that direction, it gives you these options. Now along this top screen right here, you have a battery indicator right there, a fuel indicator right here if you're using that. I am not, but it's there. This has your Wi-Fi if you have that set up and you're using it. The time, of course, which you can change to, right now it's on automatic, but you can change that if you like. This little Bluetooth symbol right here brings up these options, so you have that available quickly. And this little symbol right here, this little bike, you can change it to automobile, motorcycle, off-road. And this symbol right here just gives you the strength of the signal. Now, of course, the touch screen you can use to, move the map wherever you want to go. So, if you're in a particular area, you want to see where you're heading, you just move the map. So that's a quick overview of some of the menus. It's certainly not exhaustive. And if you're interested in a particular feature, you can look that up online. But I just wanted to give you a quick idea of what the menu system looks like. So getting back to that owner's manual here, if I click on this, it has, quite extensive information on here. I'll click on this one for the heck of it. And it has the entire manual here. They do give you a quick start manual, which has some of the basic stuff you might need, including how to connect to a Wi-Fi network, how to get live services, traffic, and smartphone features, how to do hands-free calling, how to pair your phone in the headset, how to do things like adventurous routing when you want the unit to figure out an interesting way to go by motorcycle. This is interesting, how to follow your recent track backwards. It's called Track Back, which might be useful. Explains the media player. So that's my close-up review here of this unit. After I've had a chance to use it on the bike, we'll see how I like it. But so far, I'm fairly impressed. And I will have separate videos about setting up this mount on two different bikes, and we'll see how that works. So look for those videos as well.